So I watched Knocked Loose on Sunday in Dallas at the Factory. It was their biggest headliner show yet with a sold out crowd of 5,000 people. They played with a gang called Speed, Loathe, and Show Me the Body. Let me just tell you how the show went because it was sick. With the release of their new album coming out on Friday, May 10th, they've been touring and playing huge shows for a hardcore slash metalcore, deathcore, whatever you want to call it band. Like Turnstile, they have blown past their hardcore roots into the mainstream, but have really leaned into the harder, more extreme metal sound. As their fan base grows, so do the number of people who hate them. Like any other band or artist with a big following. Say what you want about the vocalist, I think he's great. It's not uncommon in hardcore to have higher register vocals. I'm here to appreciate. Knocked Loose from Oldham County, Kentucky was formed in 2013 by vocalist Brian Garris, guitarist Isaac Hale, and bassist Kevin Auden. After a couple lineup changes, they have Kevin Paxson Kane on drums and Nico Calderon on guitar. Both guitarists offer backup vocals. Brian and Isaac have been in the scene for a while now, playing in other bands like Inclination and X Weapon X. In 2014, they released their debut EP, Pop Culture, and have since released 2 albums, a few more EPs, and a bunch of singles. Their third album, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To, comes out on Friday. Very DIY roots, and they've always kept that same energy. It's just now they have a bigger budget for sound production, lighting, and set design. Just look at their stage here. Their lights were coordinated and so good. A little strobey at some parts, so it could be a bit overwhelming, but the whole production was great. No noticeable sound issues either. They use in-ears and tracks now, which is cool. No count off for songs, and they just go right into it after interludes and stuff. I saw them in 2019 at Gas Monkey Live when they were touring for A Different Shade of Blue, and let me say, this show was at least 8 times bigger. I'm glad I got to see 2 eras of this band. So, the show I went to. First of all, it was Cinco de Mayo on Sunday. Dallas, specifically Deep Ellum, was just super packed. The most crowded I've ever seen it, let alone on a Sunday night. Parking took forever, but the people working the lots were super helpful. We walked in, and the merch line was already super long. Knocked Loose and Loathe sold out their merch almost instantly. The Factory is a huge venue, 5,000 cap venue, and it was sold out. I've seen bigger acts like Snarky Puppy play there before, and usually they're more like metal and hardcore stuff is in the side stage at the studio. No stage diving, there's a barricade and the stage is like 5.5 feet tall, and there was a mixed bag of people there, all walks of life. Hardcore kids, metalheads, TikTokers, old heads, everybody was there. The supporting bands were great. If you don't know who Speed from Australia is, they're super fun live. Show Me the Body was actually really good too. I've never heard or seen them before, but they blew me away. The Dallas Stars also won against the Golden Knights in Game 7 of the playoffs that night. It's hockey, Stanley Cup. People were hyped in the back where the TVs and the bar were, and the word spread fast. The sound people played Pantera's Dallas Stars song while Knocked Loose was setting up, and it really filled the room with excitement. When they came on, the crowd went from modest and eager to absolutely insane. People pushing forward and multiple pits started to form, like you do with big shows. They played all the new singles from the upcoming album and some older stuff from Laugh Tracks, but it was mostly their newer stuff. A Different Shade of Blue on. It's all good though, their new stuff slaps. Recently, Brian announced that his grandmother passed away, and these new songs are about loss. So props to him for putting on a great performance despite all of that. You can really feel the grief and the anger in his voice.
My grandmother was one of the most important women in my life. She was one of the smartest people I've ever met. She taught me more about this world than all of my traveling that I could ever do. She is behind everything that I do, and she will always be behind everything that I do.
The whole front half of the room was moving, literally thousands of people. Yeah, some people just jump and push each other around, but when these pits form, you gotta be alert and protect your face. You might catch an elbow. This big ass guy in overalls, no undershirt, was doing some moves, and he donkey kicked this poor soul in the liver. This kid fell and folded for like 10 seconds on the ground without getting up. People were like crowding around him and trying to protect him. The overalls guy helped him up and was really sorry after that, but he stayed in the pit for the rest of the set. The energy of the crowd was awesome. A lot of screaming and singing along. I like to stay in the front half of the crowd, so whenever pits form, I'll show off my kicks or two-step and stuff like that. But when I wasn't dancing, I was still jumping around and vibing with all the people around me. Constant movement, like our bodies turned into an ocean. By the time I got all hot and sweaty there, people were just smiling at each other and giving random people hugs. Moments like that. It was a mix of like metal, hardcore, and rap energy in the crowd. Bouncy, friendly but violent. If you want to see them live, you can and probably will get hurt. That's just part of the experience. Brace yourself and protect your face, that's all I can say. Especially if you're short and standing closer to the front. I can say that, I'm short. Some of you have to learn how to crowd surf and fall on your feet too. A bunch of these baby boys and girls would try to get lifted up and crowd surf with their phone out, and they would just fall and land on their back. Like, they'd be all surprised too, but I mean, not everyone is ready to surprise overhead press some body coming from behind them. I caught the back of this girl's head with my leg on the way down, and I'm pretty sure she would have gotten a concussion if I didn't, cause she fell at like a 45-degree angle coming down. She had her phone out recording herself crowd surfing. Be alert, tighten your core, and try to land on your feet. Just enjoy the moment. Please put your phone away in the pit or if you're surfing, because the clout isn't worth it if you get hurt bad. It's also corny as hell. My advice is to just take a few pictures or maybe a video and then put your phone away. You probably won't even watch your shaky videos more than once afterwards. But if you're on the outskirts of a pit or somewhere safe, go ahead and record. If you want to move closer to the front, just wait for the music to start and you'll have more opportunities to move through the crowd. Just say a simple "excuse me" and push people aside and they'll let you through. No one's gonna think you're an asshole. You gotta get comfortable touching people and rubbing shoulders at these types of shows. Sorry, did you ask for a lesson about how to act at hardcore shows? I don't even know if I could call this a hardcore show because it was so big. It did have hardcore energy though, like big Warped Tour energy. And I know I keep saying hardcore even though Knock Loose doesn't necessarily fall into that genre. They're more like deathcore with hardcore shouts instead of deep deathcore growls. But hardcore is more of a culture and a vibe than a genre. If you're even a little interested in seeing them play live, I think you should. Because tickets are only going to get more expensive and they're only going to get bigger and bigger as time goes on. They're supporting Slipknot on their 25th anniversary tour, so yeah, tickets are gonna get expensive. They're actually coming back to Dallas with Slipknot later this year. Is seeing Knock Loose worth it? Yes. It was the most fun I've had all day. You don't even have to be the biggest fan or like that kind of music. Experiencing live shows like that leaves you uplifted and rejuvenated for like the next 2 weeks. It's your opportunity to really let the demons out and get those endorphins pumping. It's even fun to see wackos in the pit. It's goofy and corny, I know, but that's part of the point. Don't pretend like it's something else. Also, don't try to rizz up girls at hardcore shows. 99 out of 100 times, they're not there looking for love. And you probably smell. Knock Loose is untouchable right now. One of the biggest acts coming out of the hardcore scene. Go see them. They put on an amazing performance. Okay, thanks. Subscribe.